Hi, welcome to this teachlet on the importance of dictionary on a reading test. Up until about 3 years ago, we weren't allowed to use dictionaries on our state reading assessments, but when TA switched from TAX to STAAR, they allowed dictionaries to be used as a resource to help you when it comes to words that you don't know, so that way you wouldn't miss a question just because you may not know what a word meant. But with that said, we have to understand what is the importance of a dictionary. When am I supposed to use it? How can I use it? How can it help me be successful on a state assessment? So when I look at a dictionary page, this is typically what I will see. I'll see the guide words at the top of the dictionary page. This tells me the first word on the page and the last word on the page, and alphabetically I would know what words come in between those two words. Also, the entry words are there, and those are often broken down into syllables. You have the pronunciation of the word, the parts of the speech of that word, the number of definitions that that word may have. Some dictionaries even give sample sentences or phrases, and they give you different forms that you may see this word. And occasionally you might see an illustration of that word being used. So when I look at a dictionary and it comes time for a reading test, I have to decide, what am I really looking at? Well, of course, you need to know the entry word. You need to know what word you're looking at. And then the other two important things that I would consider is the part of speech and the definitions. Now, some words have multiple parts of speech depending on how it's used in a sentence. And some words have multiple meaning words. They have more than one definition. So when I'm looking up a word, I've got to decide what part of speech is the word in the sentence that I'm reading, that I have to determine the meaning of the word, and how is that word used in that particular sentence. I know when I was a kid, I often, when it came to looking up words, I did one or two things. I either looked at the first definition or I tried to find the shortest definition and went with that. But when it comes to using the dictionary on a state assessment, we can't go with the way I used to do things. We have to find the definition that best fits it. So let's just suppose there's 3 definitions for a word. You want to carefully look at all 3 of those definitions and to determine which definition best fits the way it's used in the sentence. The same with the part of speech. If the part of speech the word is in the sentence that I'm using is a verb, then I want to find the definitions that match the verb of that word, not the noun. So when should I use the dictionary on a state assessment? Well, one case could be when you're answering a question and you do not know what some of the answer choices mean. A lot of times this comes down to those one-word answer choices and there's not any context clues to go on, and so you're having to just kind of take a guess on what that word may mean because you may not have seen it in context before. So that would be one case to look it up, is that you have no idea what that word means and is an answer choice, and it could be the answer you need. A second time is when you're reading a question and you don't understand what a word in the question means, and because you don't understand what the word in a question means, it's not allowing you to answer the question correctly. And then the third time that you may use the dictionary is when you're reading the text and not knowing what a word means is preventing you from understanding the text. There are times that you read and you see a word that's repeated over multiple times within the text, but you may not have ever seen that word, and there's just not enough context for you really to fully grasp what that word means. So you might want to look that word up so it can help you continue reading and have a better understanding of what you're reading. When not to use the dictionary. Now, on the state assessment, you are timed. You're only given 4 hours to take the test, and so you want to make sure you're using the dictionary when you need to and not when it's not necessary. So when not to use the dictionary would be when you already know what the words mean. So if you have that multiple choice question that has one word answer choices and you know what 2 of the words already mean, but you don't know what the other 2 are, only look up the 2 you don't know. Don't waste your time looking up the ones you already know, because that's just taking up your time and you're already confident in those words. Number 2, when it does not interfere with your ability to understand the text. So if I'm reading along and I come to a word that I may not know what it means, but I still understand what the text is saying, I want to keep reading and don't worry about looking up that word. What I might do as a strategy is I might circle that word as a way of me knowing, hey, I didn't know what this word meant. And if I needed to later on, if I saw that it was necessary to look up that word, then I would look up that word and that would help me. But otherwise, No need to look up that word. And finally, if you're bored, don't use a dictionary just to look up random words. I know that state test can sometimes seem long and you get fidgety and you want to do something else, but sometimes if we start looking up random words, we get absorbed with doing that and we lose focus and sight of the test. And so if you find yourself bored or you're tired, I would say take a mental break, just kind of close your booklet for a minute or two, maybe go ask to go get a drink of water and come back and then get refocused. So example questions that may require you to use the dictionary. Here's one that may require you to get that dictionary out. It says in paragraph 7, the word declassify means A, no longer keep secure, B, teach soldiers, C, stop developing, D, save for military use. Now, the first thing I want to do is I would want to go back to paragraph 7 and see how it was used in that paragraph to see if I would get any idea of what it might mean. So I'm going to read the paragraph that word's in, and I'm going to get some ideas. If that still did not help me, or I wasn't 100% sure what that word still meant, then I'm going to look up that word in the dictionary. And when I look the word up in the dictionary, I'm going to see that declassify means to officially declare to be no longer secret. So then I have to go back to my answer choices and I have to decide which one of these means closest to not keeping it a secret. Well, if you're not keeping something secure, that means it's not safe. And oftentimes when I think of a secret, I want my secrets to be kept safe. So A looks like the best choice in this case. So see how I use the dictionary to help me. First I go back to the paragraph, see if there's any clues there. Then I will go to the dictionary to confirm my clues or to help me further along with that word. Then I'll go back to my answer choices and I will see which answer choice is closely related to the definition in that dictionary. And here's another one. Here's one with those one-word answer choices. It says the kids on the bus appear to view Michael's hair as fashionable, B, eccentric, C, astonishing, D, repugnant. Again, if I already know what some of these words mean, I'm not going to waste my time looking those words up. So for example, in this case, I know what fashionable means and I know what astonishing means. So I'm not going to bother looking those words up, but eccentric and repugnant might be the words that are confusing to me. So those are the two that I'm going to look up, and I'm going to go ahead and look them both up just so I know for sure what they meant. Then I'm going to go back in the text and I'm going to find where the kids on the bus are viewing Michael's hair, where there's talk about kids on a bus and Michael's hair, and I'm going to read and get an idea of what they might be saying about his hair. And if I read in paragraph 5 and 6, I get the idea that they think, or Michael feels that the kids feel his hair may be weird, that he may be a weird person. So if I look at my definitions, I'm going to decide that eccentric is closest to how they may view his hair. So again, I'm looking at the one words, the multiple choices. I'm deciding which words I know versus which ones I don't. If I don't know the words, those are the words I'm looking up. Then I'm going back into the text and I'm looking for clues, ideas on how they may have viewed his hair. So dictionaries are important. You just have to know when and how to use them and how they can best help you. Thank you for joining me for this teachlet today.